while for this post, I thought I'd do something a little different. I knew this little wooded area right here, and I thought it gave it a nice little creepy Walking Dead whisper vibe. So this is where I'm going to do my final review for The Walking Dead. And look, the show's been over for a while. I missed 17 months, so there's certain things I just didn't want to leave that unchecked. Like, I've been doing episodes of The Walking Dead for a few seasons, and I didn't want to just let the whole thing go. So I'm going to review the final season altogether. Frankly, it doesn't deserve any more than that because each episode by itself was not much. There were a couple of highlights to the series, but other than that, nothing that really grabbed my attention. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying, and I've said this before, The Walking Dead, when it started, was an amazing series. You never knew who was going to make it to the next week. The original material really was well written, kept you guessing, kept you on the edge of your seat. There was a lot of suspense in it. And that was all dead by the end of this series. I talked how it started going downhill. It had a couple of brief crests, and then it went right back down into the gutter and finished probably as weak as any series has ever finished, for being as strong as it started. And it started pretty damn strong. I really liked the first 6 seasons. I thought they were great. Some people debate about the 7th season. I liked the 7th season. I thought the war between the Saviors and Alexandria was really, really well done. So 7 really solid seasons for me, and then you fell down, you came back up, you had some highlights with the Whisperers, and then it crashed back down again. So this season, look, I don't get it. I just don't get it. You start out with another new faction that was not in the original material, by the way, the Reapers. The Reapers was unnecessary. They didn't need to be in the series at all. It added nothing to the storyline. It was just filler. And it was filler that they tried to recreate the magic they had with the Saviors and the Whisperers, and it was just redundant at that point and completely unnecessary. So we're going to start with that right away. And you had this relationship between Daryl and this girl, and later on you find out she joins the Reapers, and there's supposed to be this connection that I just didn't give a shit about. And I'm sorry, I just didn't care. Leave it alone. Move on to something new. One thing I got to interject here, early on in the season, you have this death. As far as I can tell, this guy might have been in a couple episodes. I don't even know if that was true, but this dude, Tony, dies. And everybody, who's Tony? I don't know Tony. Do you know Tony? Because I surely don't know Tony. But everybody here seems to know who Tony is. And they're all despondent over this dude's death. And I just what? He's a non-character. He's a nobody. Who cares? What is the point of this? Are you trying to build suspense out of nothing? Because it doesn't work like that. Suspense takes time. It builds. And it was just really a letdown when they did things like that. They were trying to make us care about things we couldn't possibly care about. And it's an insult. So with that, there were some highlights, and there were some things that I really, really, really liked. Particularly, there were some conversations between Rosita and Judith that I thought were pretty momentous. At one point, Negan kind of saves Herschel, which is Maggie's baby. And so she kind of more or less forgives Negan, not completely, for what he did to Glenn by saving Herschel, but it's one wipes out the other, So it's not completely forgiven. But that really set up some really great conversations in the series. Maggie, in particular, having the conversation with Negan. Negan then having a conversation with Herschel about Glenn. That was great. And he's talking about how, he admits that he was the one who killed his father. And if he grows up and feels some kind of way, he'll be there. And I thought that was really, really a great conversation piece. Now, another conversation piece that I thought was also incredibly well done, given everything that's been built up over 10 years, maybe more. And the acting ability of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, second to none. So him and Maggie really carried this season. But Negan's genuine apology to Maggie, I thought was phenomenal. Just a great piece of television. When Alden died, I thought that was really well done. Alden's a character. He's been around for a while. We actually care about him. And so when he dies and Maggie's all brokenhearted about it, okay, that was a good moment. Having said that, I kind of had it spoiled already that Rosita was going to die. Like, I already knew that was in the works. So I was kind of expecting this, amazing go out for her where like she sacrifices herself to save her baby, gets torn to pieces, something like that. No, that's not what happens at all. She gets bit, she says goodbye to everybody. Everybody has time to say whatever they want. It's just like there was no real tragedy there because A, she's not a lead actor in this movie or in the series. She's not a lead character. She's a supporting character at best. And that was the main death of your finale. Like, that's when you know you've lost touch with what got you popular in the first place. Like, your biggest death is a who gives a shit character, honestly, in my opinion. I've never cared about Rosita. Not once, not ever in the whole series. So for that to be really the penultimate moment, I mean, you've lost it. So, she gets bitten, she dies. And I'll be honest, I didn't give any kind of care, not at all. The only real surprise, I think, for me was when Lydia got bit, because Lydia was a character I kind of cared about. I thought she was really well done and actually had some integral moments in here. And so when she got bitten, it's like, is she going to die? And then the amputation scene, that was kind of harsh. But at the end of the day, like, that was the most you got out of your Walking Dead, 12-year run, maybe longer. That was your season closing out the entire series. It was weak. It was really, really weak. You had the explosion at the end, and that was very cool visual effects. And but it wasn't enough to save such a weak finish. And I was really disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I really thought they dropped the ball on this. So let me say, when you make all these commercials and you're saying that you're having all these spin-offs, and this is before the Walking Dead series is ever finished, and Rick and Michonne are going to show up, which they are barely there, so you're really underselling there. And that Rick and Michonne aren't going to die. Okay, Carol's not going to die. Daryl's not going to die. So you take all of your main protagonists and they're safe. So there's no real suspension there. There's no cause for concern as you're watching this. You don't get invested because you already know the outcome. And that really killed this series. The popularity of the series was its own worst enemy in a way. Because once they started getting too commercialized and they were afraid to take any risks and they didn't want to kill anybody off and they didn't want to leave anybody without, the next thing coming. Well, now you've got nothing left to look forward to now. I mean, I feel like during the Whisperer War, they were afraid to kill off Ezekiel because he was such a great character, and he was a great character, but that's what The Walking Dead does. They create these amazing characters, and then boom, gone. But that's real life, that's actual storytelling, that's, good writing. And I feel like they just lost it. They lost the edge, they lost their risk-taking, they didn't want to lose any of their audience, and by doing that, I feel like they lost most of their audience. So I would give this whole finale season a 1 out of 10. It was just really, really bad. You can't not have something happen. And in this case, nothing happened. Nothing. You had some really good emotional conversations, and that was really about it. So that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz, Kaged Nation, out. So I know about this little nature trail right here. And I was thinking about doing like some different locations for my Walking Dead reviews, other reviews like that. You can see the little stream behind me, and I was like, You know what? This is just like creepy enough and just perfect enough to fit right in with a Walking Dead review.